I'm Lily, and this is the Lily Friend Project.
Do you wanna be my friend? It's Lily's Friend Project. She asked people to apply to be her friend, and then she interviewed them. And when she interviewed them, she saw New York City's a big, big place. Have you got a shot with the human race? Is loneliness what we've all come to expect? From Midwood, Queens to 150th Street, it's Lily's Friend Project.
Sometimes, the most memorable people are the ones we never actually meet. And sometimes, the most interesting part of a conversation is the silence that follows. Her name was M. Her questionnaire stood out immediately. Thoughtful, self-aware, intelligent. M had some of the most compelling answers to the questionnaire I'd created. When I asked why she was filling it out, she wrote,
I scrolled down to look at the questions you asked. I think they strike at something important about the qualities of friendship. Are we similar? How similar? How do we maintain friendships? And I think, too, even if not chosen, these questions help me reflect on my own current friendships. A sort of emotional inventory. So there's really no harm in filling out the questionnaire. At best, we meet, get along famously, and drink ginger ale while contemplating the gem collection at the Natural History Museum. At worst, I get to think about my own friends and give form to some of my feelings.
When I asked about existential crises, most people glossed over the question or joked about it. Not M.
Yes. The biggest and most poignant one came when I did acid for the first time. It was an important moment of reflection in which I decided to prioritize relationships and financial security over a big party lifestyle.
I was particularly taken by her Saturday morning routine and her reading policy.
I'm up around 8:30 a.m. What I do really depends on the weather. If it's nice, I like to walk to a coffee shop. I like to sit outside of a church, just because I think they're beautiful. I like going to small bookstores, but I don't buy anything because I have a rule in place that I can only buy a book once I finished my last one. And I'm in the middle of books on Libby all the time.
After reading her answers, I was eager to meet her. We emailed back and forth, trying to schedule an interview. Then, silence. She rescheduled once, then canceled. Then, never responded again. I wondered, had I come on too strong? Was my project too weird? Did she get a boyfriend? Did she die? Okay, probably not the last one, but her ghosting made me reflect on myself and this whole experiment. If someone as genuine, thoughtful, and articulate as M was put off, was I doing something wrong? Was I too much? The classic question with which I started this podcast. Am I the problem?
It's Lily's Friend Project.
Creating the questionnaire was a strange exercise. I had to think deeply about what I actually wanted in a friend. It was very hard to narrow down the questions, but when I finally narrowed it down to 45, most people I showed it to thought I was crazy. They thought no one would ever fill out such a long and winding set of questions. However, I structured it in such a way where I tried to pick people's interests with questions like,
are you crazy?
Friendship
What is your
to me
email?
means
Are you able to
reflection,
report to Manhattan
companionship,
and spend
comfort.
at
Have you ever
least
had
an
an
hour for the
existential
interview?
crisis? A reminder of all
Why
of
are
our
you filling out
what
these
are your
questionnaires?
dreams?
The later questions in the questionnaire ranged from silly to philosophical. I asked people if they liked Billie Eilish and why.
I listen to Bad Guy, and it's in rotation because it's a good song. But I can't say I know a lot about her music.
So I can live out my sad girl vibes.
I do not listen to Billie Eilish because the only music I truly enjoy is very mainstream pop music. The worst thing about me. So I actually find Billie to be too experimental. Sorry.
No, but I do like her one song, Bad Guy.
I asked about what they do on Saturday mornings.
Yo, if Friday night was a banger, I'd be taking it slow, 11 a.m. or so, making coffee, doing some writing, playing some music.
I'm up around 8. Might head to the gym, get some tasks done, meet up with friends for brunch or an art museum.
I want to either lay down or binge drink with company.
I'm up by 9:30, and I make myself a nice cup of coffee, make my bed, then conquer the world. I like exploring places, even with no destination.
I asked about existential crises.
I'm currently in one, although I'm philosophically contained. This is a personal matter, of course, but it came out of a mix of mental and spiritual holes about my conscience.
I've had numerous. One could say I'm persisting through the very same one at all times, and there are merely more significant bumps in the road at times.
Everyday man, my takeaway is, it is what it is.
Yes, I think I'm still in one. Just about what I'm doing in my life. It came about after college graduation and applying for jobs. I think my ultimate takeaway was that I just gotta do what makes me happy.
I asked about their take on feminism and how they got there.
I like feminism. I'm a man. I frame it as the ideology in opposition to patriarchy and a lens through which we can see how the patriarchy and gender norms harm us and restrict society.
I'm all for feminism, but I'm tired of girl bossing.
Well, not much, since women have more right than men.
Feminism is an important principle in my life. I think a lot about how gender roles impact my experience of dating and what I want in a partnership. That said, I think modern-day white feminism has gone in some pretty unproductive directions.
I think we have to include intersectionality in the conversation. And lately I've been challenging myself to have more empathy for men and the ways they are affected by patriarchy.
And I asked them about their alternate reality addictions.
Shopping. 100%.
Probably bubble tea. If you mean drugs, then I have no idea.
Wasting money. Mostly on knitting stuff, maybe random food stuff and stuff.
Ants in my pants.
Minion porn.
Male validation. For a while, I really believed that I had pick-me tendencies. The past few years, I've been working really hard to dive into why that is and how to break that need inside of me.
I asked what qualities were most important in a friend.
Humor and inspiration.
Loyalty and honesty.
Companionship and comfort.
I think that's a bit of a false dichotomy. It's a drop in a giant well, but the drop itself still has merit.
It doesn't matter?
We will all die anyway.
After M ghosted me, I found myself obsessing over her answers, looking for clues. One of the most revealing questions was the essay question about friend breakups. I asked this specifically because I knew that by asking what people look for in a friend, you automatically get these super idealized versions of friendship. People claim to want things that aren't necessarily true in practice. The essay question was meant to learn people's hard lines, their boundaries, their deal breakers. It reveals what actually matters when the rubber hits the road. Not what people say they want in a friend, but actually what ends friendships for them. M had written this beautiful account.
In terms of friend breakups, I met Taylor through a mutual friend a few years ago. We talked about everything, and it was a lovely connection in many ways. I found out last year that she was gossiping about our friend group, and myself, a bit meanly. We discussed it, and she gave a good apology, pledged to do better. It was shit timing, though, as I went on to travel for a few months. We had a subsequent conversation that I was really disappointed by. A successful friendship. I met Suki in college. We weren't close then, but we reconnected in our mid-20s. She is one of the women in my life I feel closest to. We have so much in common and respect our differences. I think a lot of what has made us successful has been good communication, shared values, shared humor, and giving each other room to be different or have different needs/circumstances.
The essay question revealed the most about what people truly value. Take Hannah, who wrote,
I recently ended a 10-year friendship because I felt that this friend secretly disliked and resented me. I expressed this feeling to my friend multiple times, and she always denied it, while continuing to make passive-aggressive jabs designed to imply that she was a better person than me. Eventually, her negativity and borderline cruelty proved to be more than I could handle.
Or Win, who shared,
I met a person that I was thoroughly similar to. It was honestly quite amazing. We'd write each other all night, and eventually I'd be writing huge swaths of text about us. When we were together, it was quite amazing the way we'd talk so easily. We'd always joke that it was like speaking to ourselves in a library. Unfortunately, the relationship very quickly became quite confusing with us, creating a very strange romantic tension. Me, on the other hand, I was analyzing every little thing she did as a complete reflection of myself and presumed things of her as easily as I could presume them of myself. Both sides of the relationship resulted in us being very confused.
Frances told a story of a sudden friendship breakup.
My freshman year of high school, I met this girl, Day, and we became best friends. We were practically inseparable. Then suddenly, about a year and a half into our friendship, she suddenly ghosted me and two of our other friends. It was really dramatic. It all happened so fast. I look back and reflect on that, and it's pretty sad. I had never had such a whirlwind friendship like that. I still haven't over 5 years later, and it was one of the most fulfilling times in my life.
Renata shared one of the most painful stories.
I saw my first best friend in the world as my sister. I wish she knew this. We knew each other since pre-K, but were cruising our teenage years together when our bond became stronger. At some points, I lived with her. We slept together, shared clothes and playlist, and her parents were scared that she loved/liked me like something else. I loved talking and naturally told her everything. I had no secrets with her, but she sometimes hid stuff from me that I only knew of when she was in real trouble and she needed me by her side. I never cared about this because I felt that it was just the way she was and justified her behavior with her very religious family and the shame that comes with growing up in such a household. Things started to fall apart when she missed my graduation party in a really awkward way. I called her and her then boyfriend picked up the phone and told me she wasn't coming. I cursed him out and she cut ties with me for months. When they broke up, we saw each other at the mall and we started hanging and talking like before. Then I moved to the US, and after a few months of me being here, she just completely disappeared from my life. I couldn't reach her or anything. It really broke my heart. 3 years later, I finally found a social media profile and reached out. We talked on the phone. She told me the reason why she ended our friendship, and I almost fell off my seat. It was because she had started a relationship with a toxic dude that I didn't even know, but he was friends with one of my exes. So she assumed that I knew him. Apparently, he told her that I had been texting him flirty stuff. I was shocked. I couldn't believe I suffered for something that didn't even happen. Also, bitter relief that I didn't lose an awesome friend.
Several people spoke of outgrowing friendships, like Sustaita.
I see people as chapters. If we're not evolving together, I let it fade. It's healthier than staying and resenting them.
And Mara.
When I was in high school, my best friend's name was Lilly. We were really close as we both lived close to each other in Brooklyn, and we created a foundation for our friendship in middle school. We were practically inseparable. She became more interested in partying and drinking and drugs, and I wasn't used to it. I think she scared me a little, actually. Today, I'm happy to say I learned and grew, and my friendships all feel authentic and spread out, not possessive.
Then there were the more dramatic breakups, like Brian's.
I've lost a few friends to time and geography, but rarely have I had a friend breakup. I had a roommate in college who dated my friend Michelle, but when their relationship ended badly, I chose her side since we had more history. Another friend I lost because I told him not to marry his then-girlfriend. Needless to say, he chose her, even though he had spent years complaining about her.
And Danny's story struck me with its brutal simplicity.
I had a very best friend of 7 years. She made a string of bad decisions, ultimately damaging relationships within our immediate friend group. When faced with the consequences of her actions, she did not self-reflect, but rather asked me to pick her side so she wasn't alone in the chaos. I put up a boundary for the first time in our entire friendship, and it translated to her as a closed door. Never spoke again.
Christian's story haunted me.
2018, I betrayed a friend. He had a romantic interest in a woman who became my friend, girlfriend, and now ex-friend. I made a decision marked in betrayal. What made the situation mostly awkward for me was that I realized what I was capable of after all was said and done. I admitted to him that I became more than friendly with her, but not with ease. We were in person. We met at a diner downtown. Things weren't casual, but neither tense. It seems he thought a great deal about everything, and before I realized it, we were back outside. The last thing he said to me was, "You lost a friend."
And Sam broke down how friendships can become toxic.
I'm always the friend people call when things are falling apart, but I don't know that I can call them in the same way. I know I'm seen as strong, and I do like that. But sometimes I wonder if people forget that I need support too. I catch myself avoiding deep conversations with friends because I know I'll end up carrying their weight home with me.
The irony wasn't lost on me. Here I was, feeling a connection with someone through their written words, only to experience the same sense of unexplained absence. Maybe M represented what I was looking for all along. Someone thoughtful, self-aware, complex. And maybe her ghosting was a reminder that connections can't be forced, no matter how thoughtfully designed the questionnaire. I realized that this project was as much about me as it was about finding friends. I was using these questions to figure myself out, to understand what I valued in others. These essays revealed the truth about friendship. It's messy, it's complex, and it doesn't always follow the ideal formulas we set out. They showed me that friends drift apart, betray each other, outgrow each other, misunderstand each other, and sometimes reconnect in beautiful ways. What became clear was that there are usually two ways people respond to friend breakups. Either they build walls or they build bridges. Either they become more guarded, more careful about who they let in, or they become more intentional about creating authentic connections. M's absence became a presence in this project. The friend who got away. The connection that almost was. And in that space, I found something valuable. The recognition that sometimes the most important connections are the ones that challenge us to look inward. This is the Lilly Friend Project. Thank you for listening. The Lilly Friend Project was created and hosted by me, Lily Hogan. It was post-produced, edited, and sound designed by Noreen Mullick. The theme music was created and performed by Bridge Gamble. Special thanks to everyone who filled out the questionnaire, and to the voices you heard: Lena Selick, Daniel Harmony Reynolds, Dana Cummings, Nick Burrier, Gabe KS, Chris Gibson, Karen Trop, Colin Powers, Guillerme Serra, Max Lopez, Chance Thomas Garcia, Damar Mercado Hastings, Emma Hurst, Tony Adeyemi, Violetta Palchik, Gabrielle Segrist, Hannah KC, Eli Weinberg, Trinley Lama, Abby Lloyd, Sundara Ziegler, Patrick Nininger, Ariana Weber, Louis Selt, Pat Fisher, Sam Boyd, Bo Honeycutt, John Ling, Vanessa Ayala, and Julia Crowley. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it. If you liked this podcast, please head on over to your platform of choice and rate and review us. It really makes a difference. Additionally, we're on TikTok and Instagram, just the show title, so you can just type that into those platforms. And also, I created a secondary questionnaire which I put on the website. Again, lilyfriendproject.com. It's just the show title.com. And there you can fill out this secondary questionnaire, which will automatically spit you out into a Discord community where we'll be doing live events and just generally trying to build community the Lilly Friend Project way. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.